Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. Welcome to Chiropractic. First announcement, I wanted to welcome several new doctors to our program. We had a great event in San Francisco and talked to several docs thereafter. So for those of you who know what I'm talking about, welcome to our program. And welcome to Chiropassion, welcome to the family of Chiropractic Consulting. That's great. Secondly, this is one of the rooms I've been talking to you guys about on seminars and on some of our Thought Flashes that we've been working on in the office, and here's one of them. So we're going to have our technology isn't 100% there, but we're going to have a nice backup here and a nice place to do our Thought Flashes, weekly Thought Flashes. So I'm real excited about that as well. So this is the beginning of a new change, new format for us. So we're excited about that with our logo. That'll be exciting as well. That being said, I was at a friend's farm this morning, and his name's Jerry Wilson, and he runs a Kobe beef farm. So, you know, a lot of the health talks I've put on, along with a lot of the health talks that I've listened to by other docs, and I talk about nutrition, and you hear other doctors talk about nutrition, and how so much of our meat is grain-fed, and humans grain-fed, not good for us. Especially with the inflammatory problems that you run into. Well, Jerry runs an organic Kobe beef farm, so he grass all his cattle are grass-fed. Can't talk grass-fed. And anyways, I was walking along the farm with him and his girlfriend Mary, and who's a friend of mine as well. And you know, we came back, and I have this. He gave me zucchinis and radishes and onions and some other items out of the garden. Basil. I made some pesto sauce recently here this morning. But why do I say that? What's that all have to do with chiropractic? You know, I've got this great book. It's Old Man or Old Dad Chiro, and it's a biography of D.D. Palmer by Vernon Gallo. And what I was thinking about when I'm walking the farm, you know, being the chiropractor, and then the philosophy of what it is we do as chiropractors, I was just so taken back by the intention of it all. You know, and I started thinking about bringing home the radish and the lettuce, and I made a salad out of the leaves of the radish plant, and I brought that home, and I was looking at it, and you know, it's so beautiful. And you put this thing in the ground, the seed, and you know, some good fertilizer and some sunlight and some water, and you grow this absolutely beautiful piece of food out of the ground. Strawberry is one of my favorite, by the way. But that being said, you know, the miracle doesn't stop there, if I can use that word. You eat this food, and it assimilates in the body. And from that, innate takes the innate, if you will, of the plant and breaks it down and makes cells and replaces body parts and takes in the exact amount that it needs and gets rid of the exact amount it doesn't need. And a great book, when you read a couple of the early books by Dede, he talks about excretion and absorption, and it's really interesting how well thought out they were on every aspect of body physiology, body function. But you know, if you can start to see the world through those eyes, everything's a wonder. You know, Albert Einstein said that 99% of the world walks around in total mediocrity, and 1% walks around in full amazement. And you know, I've become that 1%. I've become that 1% in reading Dede and BJ and other great authors, and hanging out with great chiropractors and listening to great speakers in chiropractic and talk about innate universal intelligence. And it really gives you a humbling appreciation, a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole of the intention of it all. There's an intention to it all. And when I hear doctors, and certainly use these phrases, and I don't mean to make less of them. It's their viewpoint, but you know, I move the bone, God does the healing. They're right. I wouldn't use the word God in my office, but I would use the word innate. You know, I would use the word nature. I would use the word health and healing. You know, that intention of it all. I mean, I happen personally to believe that, you know, that there's an intention and an objective to every aspect that's already been figured out, and that the body is, or innate, if you will, has that intention to always do the right thing. It is always there to do the right thing. And the challenge of a chiropractor is to get the patient or member or family member or whatever to understand it and to value it. You know, that's why practices don't succeed. You know, the practice doesn't succeed because the chiropractor doesn't believe, if we can use that word, right? I hear people, I believe in chiropractic. You know, it's not a belief, right? Sid Williams, drop keys, they fall. I believe in gravity, I don't believe in gravity. So the idea that chiropractic, whether one believes in it or not, is really mute. Chiropractic is right. I mean, the idea that you can squeeze on an artery, a string around your aorta, is going to reduce your ability to function is 100%. I mean, I think that intuitively makes sense. So the challenge isn't the deductive and inductive reasoning that leads you to understand the chiropractic principle. The challenge is to get other people to understand it. You know, that's the problem. And because we are coming from this mechanistic, allopathic Plato world rather than Aristotle, who came up with the vitalism world, you know, that's the challenge. And I use those people along with many other speakers and great authors and great philosophers because what we know is this debate has been going on for thousands of years. But those that believe in a vitalistic model, it makes total sense to your intuition as to what we do as a chiropractic profession. And we also know that no one does what we do. And I think what is beautiful is that it's natural. Now that doesn't mean anything natural is chiropractic, but it is natural. Chiropractic is natural. Chiropractic makes sense. It's very safe. It's healing. It's wellness. It is congruent with innate in nature, and it is a beautiful form of healing. I also like the terminology that I'm going to borrow during this talk that James Chestnut would always use, in that we're not firemen, we're carpenters, you know. And I think if we put ourselves out as firemen, like he says, we look foolish when we show up at the fire, you know, because they're going to say, well, you can't run a hose, you know, you can't bust in with your mask and oxygen and make some emergency life-saving, you know, moment. That's not what chiropractic principle, if you will, and practice is about. And they're right, but don't show up at the fire, you know. We need to be there all along so the house never catches on fire. And I think if we use that terminology and that type of logic and those examples along with many more, people will start to understand it. But I think by coaching chiros now for 10 years and listening to many doctors in our field express their challenges and looking at many offices fail and looking at those many offices that succeed, you know, you step back and see that it isn't really the lack of philosophy. It's the certainty and confidence that the doctor in practice is challenged with. Also, you know, do they have some practice understanding of how to run a business? I think you need to couple those. And you have to have some perseverance, you know, regardless of troubled water ahead, you're always going to work to succeed. Your determination to success and I don't mean rich and with driving a Lexus, you know, and that type of status. I mean success of serving a lot of people. If that is your goal, you know, first become a man of value, a woman of value, in the words of Einstein. And I think in turn, you will certainly change the lives of those you serve. Remember, you practice within the 6 inches between your ears. So your practice is right here. You carry it around with you all the time. So what you put in, what you read, how you look at the world, that's where you need to make the changes. You make those changes, everything else will change. I can promise you that. And I'll leave you with the thoughts and the words of B.J. Palmer. The secret to success: early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise. And I still love it. Here's one of my advertisements right here, Got Chiropractic. And it's a shirt that we use in the office. We hand them out to people after their first re-exam. They get done with their first re-exam, everybody gets a t-shirt. So real fun stuff. Guys, this has been Dr. Joe Borio. Don't forget about our New York event at the end of the summer, right in the fall. First week of September is going to be in New York City. We're excited. Hopefully we see a lot of docs there. Hopefully if you're a new person watching this, hopefully to see you there. I know a lot of my clients will be there. Also, remember, may urinate always flow from above down, inside out, guys. Have a great week serving. Talk to you next week.
My best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day